Hi, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Screening Room Podcast. This is your host, Mike, joined by my co host, Evan.
What's up, everyone?
And for this week's episode, we are reviewing Roland Emmerich's Independence Day. For
Yeah,
us over in the United States, we just celebrated our 250th anniversary, and we decided to pop on an old classic to celebrate.
we would have done this a few days earlier, to actually do it on Independence Day, but I got busy with vacation, but I figured it was still worth doing, so I figured, better late than never. Um, but yeah, I know at least this is going to be an interesting discussion because I know we were talking a little bit about this before we hit record. You've been watching this for the better part of 8 years now, and then for
At
me,
least,
this was my
yeah.
first time watching it. I somehow made
hmm
it 20 years on this rock not watching this movie. And I think that'll be kind of interesting, perspective wise, we kind of get into our reactions. But with that all said, kick it off with your initial thoughts on the film.
Absolutely. For me, and I'm just going to put this out there right now before I continue, I might be a little biased. The day I rewatch this movie, and I've had this as a tradition for years, every 4th of July, I go and sit down and watch Independence Day, the first one. So I rewatched this for the review on July 4th. So my bias might have been a little strong in comparison to like if I watched it any other day. But overall, I still think this is a really great alien invasion movie. I like the cast in it. I really like Bill Pullman was great as the president. I like Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum. They're a great duo in this. I also really liked Randy Quaid. He was a fun side character that got tossed into it. I liked all the action in it. And I was also a huge fan of the design for the aliens in this. I like the little like the spacecrafts. I like the creature design. I think it's something that, for me anyway, it's different than we were expecting. At least creature wise, the flying saucers are kind of similar to what you would expect typically, but it gave something unique. It had a lot of fun comedic moments and then a lot of serious moments throughout the film too. So it kind of balanced that something for everybody mentality. But I also really enjoyed the film just for some of the flight choreography. I really enjoyed that. I liked the final battle in it. And overall, I thought this was a very well put together um, sci-fi action movie.
Yeah, that's fair. I think what year did this come out? I know it was 90s, right?
96. Yep,
96. Okay.
1996.
Yeah, kind of like what you were saying, at least in terms of the cast. It's like the most 90s cast ever. Like you could just tell it.
Yep.
Like you could know nothing about the movie and just by the cast, like okay, it's 90s. But I think also on the production side of things, I think it's was made at like the perfect time because if this movie was made today, and I'm sure you could actually sorry, my throat is a little acting up. I think I've heard that the sequel, what is it, Resurgence, is I've heard that
Yeah. Oh,
wasn't
yeah.
good. I looked up the Rotten Tomatoes
No.
score before we started this and I saw it doesn't look great. But
Yeah.
I'm assuming again, I haven't even seen the trailer for it, so I have no idea. But I'm assuming that movie's probably like CGI heavy. Like, am I wrong or?
No, you're not wrong.
Okay, yeah. So I think that this movie kind of came out at a good time where there obviously is like some CGI elements to it, but you could tell a lot of it was also done practically. Like, forgive me if I'm wrong, but
Oh, yeah.
weren't like the White House explosions and all that like done with miniatures or whatever?
As far
Like,
as I know, yeah. And if we're going practical, I really liked the operating scene in the Secret Area 51 base.
oh
That was a
yeah,
great practical creature design. I thought that was really fun to see.
well yeah,
And
like
this kind of, yeah. And this is kind of bleeding over into my like trivia that I have too. But the ship that they recovered from the six, like the I think they said it was in the Roswell crash. that was a real ship they built. I think they said it was like a 65-foot long like ship they had actually built.
Oh wow,
So that was a real prop that they had used in the film.
pretty impressive. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I always like it when movies, do as much practically as possible because, like you said, the alien design was really cool, and the fact that I feel like it just comes across as more believable when it's like an actual tangible
Yeah.
thing that's being photographed rather than the
Yeah.
something that is just whipped up in the computer. Um, I always think that just it reads more as like more authentic, I guess. And
I
the
agree,
actual
yeah.
design itself was cool. Like it
Hmm.
was a little different than like your typical like stereotypical, I should say, alien with like the long skinny
Yeah.
thing with like the
Yeah, the
oval head.
grays.
Yeah. Um it was like it actually kind of reminded me a little bit of like almost like the Predator as if but if it had like tentacles
Yeah.
kind of like
Yeah, it was in that same vein where it's like if you took the classic alien design and mixed it a little bit with like the xenomorph like style.
yeah, that's yeah, that's a good compare cuz like even the like kind of slimy texture of it, like that reminded me a lot of
Yeah,
like
like the biosuit.
yeah. So, yeah, no, I think that like production design as a whole was really good. Um,
Hmm.
the acting was fine. My
Yeah.
main thing was like some of the like I don't know, like I guess this is mostly a problem with like the writing, but for me, there were bits, especially like some of the president's lines in particular. I just couldn't like take it seriously. And I understand that like, it's a PG-13 movie, but at the same time, I've at least to me, I feel like the movie tried to take itself a little bit more seriously than it like than as it deserves, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know.
Okay.
I feel like I wouldn't call this movie campy by any means, but like I would say it's somewhere between like Adam West Batman and like Marvel like an MCU movie. I would say it like falls somewhere
Okay.
in the middle, and but it's trying to treat itself like a like I don't know like the Batman, like the Matt Reeves thing.
Okay.
Like that's kind of
I
how it
will.
read to me at least. Like I don't know. Like, and I will say I watched this over the course of 2 days. I watched part of it on an airplane and then part of it like right before we started recording this. So I also like I watched in two halves, but
Okay.
I don't know. It doesn't like totally take me out of it, but I don't know. There were just moments where it was just hard to take it seriously. Um, I don't know. And I guess I mean this is maybe more of a I guess this is a spoiler, so if you haven't seen the movie, skip ahead like 30 seconds, but I feel like the ending where they just like blow up the mothership and like
Oh
essentially all
yeah.
is well. I felt like that was very generic. Like I was like, okay, like whatever, like I don't know, like I get it, like I don't know what else they really could have done because the whole point was the mothership was like this
Rolling all of them.
thousand
Yeah.
multi like several thousand miles long or whatever, so like I
Yeah.
get it, but like I don't really know what else he could have done, but I don't know, it just felt like I've seen this before in so
Okay.
many other movies. I don't know, I was a little underwhelmed by that, but I don't know. Like I don't mean to be just completely shitting on it. Like I did enjoy it. And it might go up for me on rewatches too, but I don't know. It was just it was just perfectly okay for me, I guess.
Okay. See, and I totally understand what you're saying about the tonal whiplash because again, this is another spoiler. Just again to preface, there will be spoilers in this, so if you haven't watched the movie, pause this, go watch the movie, then come back and hear our thoughts. But to build off what you were thinking with that, I will agree there is tonal whiplash. Like one thing that came to mind when you mentioned that was like there's a very like emotional moment where the president has to like say his final words to his wife, and then like 2 minutes later you have Will Smith going "Welcome to Earth" after he punches one of the aliens, and it's like it's a little it flip flops, but I also enjoy the different stories that you get out of it. Like some stories are campier, but and other ones are a little bit darker. Like, and I liked the story of the crop duster. I thought like
Yeah, that was
Russell.
pretty
I
funny.
thought that was
Yeah.
really that's one of my favorite bits of the whole movie, where it's this guy who
Just an average
maybe he
Joe.
was a little, maybe he's crazy. Yeah, he's just a guy. Maybe he was crazy. Maybe it was true. But he's been trying to tell people something's gonna arrive, and he's trying to like do what he can for his family, and then he volunteers to go fight them at the very end. I thought that was a very interesting story, and I really liked the acting from that. Like I said, from Randy Quaid, I thought he did a good job in that. I liked, and I will say, yes, some lines are a little corny in this, but I did like Bill Pullman's final speech before the final battle. I
Yeah,
thought that was
that
really
was well
well put
done.
together.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Like that cooks. It's such a
Yeah.
good speech. And it's like that's the kind of speech you need for a finale. That's like a finale speech. And that's what I think of. But then again, I've been watching this movie for 8 years, but I thought that's always good to see. I liked that, like I said, I liked the flying sequences. I liked the dogfight stuff, particularly the first time when Will Smith gets sent out to go fight the aliens. I thought that was really cool, especially when they're bobbing and weaving through the Grand Canyon. I thought that was always fun. And I liked the end of it too. It is a little cheesy how they beat the aliens. Like if the aliens weren't running on Windows 95, they'd be cooked. Um, but it's a good.
The
It's an.
aliens, which
I
by the
thought it
way,
was.
they made a point of saying were like far more technologically advanced than us.
Hey man, I mean our work uses Windows 8, so it's not
Yeah,
too far
that's
off.
fair.
Um, but nah, but the idea of infecting them with a technological virus, I thought was clever when I first watched it, because that's something you typically wouldn't think of
Right.
off rip. Like that's a fun idea.
Yeah.
I liked the and I liked the concept of an Area 51 in that universe, where they've been trying to re-engineer this technology for a long time. The government has known about it, and that's what the Secretary of Defense kept from everybody like the whole time. I think that's interesting,
Yeah, it was kind of
and
cool how like even the president didn't know about it. Like it was
yeah,
just like what is this?
for national security, yeah.
Right.
Um, So I thought that was interesting. Like I said, I liked the lore there, and I liked some of the other aspects of this too, like this like fun like things you can poke and laugh at the screen, like the sections where whenever all the aliens like the smaller like spaceship showed up to the big cities, and you have the people like showing up to greet them. That was always like a it's a like a oh shit moment, but it's also something to be like, ha, look at these idiots,
Right.
like that's gonna work. Um, and there are some moments where I'm like, oh, that like this takes me out of it a little bit. Like the one bit with the dog in the subway tunnel, that dog should have
Yeah,
been
yeah, that
fried.
dog. That dog
Like
should not have
that,
made it
no,
to
that dog
whatever her
shouldn't have
name
made
is.
it.
Yeah.
That dog was, that
I
shouldn't
hate
have
to say it
worked.
as a dog lover, but that dog should not have survived.
No, I'm also a pet lover, but that's not how that works.
Yeah, no.
That dog
I'm
is
sorry,
always
but
gone.
no.
I'm sorry. Uh, that's rough.
Yeah, no.
Um, and another thing I was saying too that I think is in favor of the movie, at least with its memorability, is I think this is a very quotable movie. It's got a lot of quips. Obviously, the Welcome to Earth one like is a popular one, but I like the one right afterwards where it's well, you call that a close encounter. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Like I said, I liked the final battle speech. That was good. a lot of the quotes are from Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum, but still, the "I could have been at a barbecue" is always funny.
Yeah,
That
that
was a
did
good
get a
one.
laugh from me. That was pretty. That was probably
Yeah,
yeah.
that was good. Um, that was good. And then I like the end too, where I mean, with all the alien debris going down, and it's Will Smith talking to his like his stepson, and he tells him like, "I promised you fireworks, didn't I?" I thought that was a nice little moment that
Right.
called back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Um, but overall, I still think it's a solid film. I really like it. Like I said, I make a point of watching this every 4th of July. So maybe my review's a tad bit biased, but I still think it's a good movie to watch.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, yeah, I one scene actually that I just remembered while we were talking about I'm kind of backtracking a little bit, but while we were talking about like the total whiplash, like one scene that I actually thought was really well done was like right before the final battle when Will Smith and I forget her name, but his wife get
Hmm.
married. And then like the kids there, and then Jeff Goldblum's like the witness or whatever. Um,
Yes, yeah.
I thought that was really well done. But again, you go from that and then immediately to Will Smith joking about taking a blunt or not a blunt, a
Cigar.
cigar, yeah.
A cigar, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, wait, no, he didn't take a yeah. Okay. But
Not the
like
fat lady sing.
yeah, I was like, what? Like that I was like we went from like probably one of I mean, I don't know, like one of the more emotional scenes in the movie to like I don't know. Like I could see where like some people would like that. And maybe
Yeah,
if you're in a different like it depends on like the state of mind, atmosphere you're watching it in too.
yeah.
I would imagine if you're in like a packed theater that would probably play over better. But when you're watching it on your own on an iPhone, it's like I was like, okay. But no, I do like I like what you said earlier about how it does do I wouldn't necessarily say a great job, but it does an okay job at like having some tonal variety. It's just for me, I wish it was like more spaced out because you can have a more serious movie, but then still have some jokes in there. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I know what
you
you mean.
can balance it out. Like I mean, like even like Oppenheimer, for example, like one of the most serious movies I can think of off the top of my head. Like it, it's really dark, for lack of a better word, plot. But then there are jokes about how this Robert Oppenheimer understands nuclear physics better than he understands women, like something like that. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying everything has to be like that. I'm just saying like, I feel like there are better ways to balance out the tone. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
um, but I still do think the funny moments hit for the most part and the emotional bits hit for the most part. It's just I wish that they met kind of in the middle more often, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Okay. Or they had more time to sit.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, cuz like I don't know, when you're having your wedding, knowing you're doing it in the first place because you think that there's a good chance that you're not going to make it home from this like potential suicide mission to going to making jokes with Jeff. I don't like like literally in the next scene. I'm like, okay. Like it makes me wonder if maybe like in the original cut of the movie, there's like stuff in between there, but they cut it out for like time or whatever or pacing. I don't know, but eh, I still enjoyed it. I don't mean to keep beating a dead horse. I did genuinely enjoy the movie. It's just I don't know. It was just something I wanted to talk about. Um, but with that in mind, did you want to get into some trivium fun facts?
Yeah, absolutely. I was also able to find the budget and the box office for the movie as well. The budget for this movie was only $75 million, which I was very surprised to discover.
Yeah,
And the
that does seem
box
pretty
office for
low.
this movie was $817 million. And this was at the time the second highest grossing movie, um, which was only beat by Jurassic Park, which came out like 3 years earlier. So I thought that was really impressive for the movie with such a small budget. That was really like fun to like find out and to just see how popular this movie has gotten.
That's
I'm
kind
sure
of
it's made a
interesting
lot
about a
more
movie
off of.
like. Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say I'm sure it's made a lot more sense then with DVD sales,
Oh yeah.
with like streaming deals and other such things. With obviously they made a second one, but that didn't make anywhere near as much money.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised because would you say this came out in '97? So like this would
96, yeah.
'96. Okay, yeah. So like this would have been during like this would have been perfect timing for like the start of the DVD era, and that was back when like streaming wasn't even a thing. So I wouldn't be shocked if it's made like close to $1 billion by now. Especially
I
with like
I could almost guarantee it.
yeah. Um, I complete. Oh, that's right. I was gonna say it's interesting that it made that much money when like I mean the premise is pretty easy to dissect. It's not a complicated movie by any means, but it's still built around an American holiday. So I'm surprised that like that many people internationally would be interested in checking it out. But that's I
Yeah,
guess that just kind of speaks to how big this was back then. So that's pretty impressive.
yeah.
Um,
But
yeah, I'll let you go on.
yeah, to get
Sorry.
into some other. No, you're good. You're good. But to get into some fun trivia, I found out that according to the producer and one of the co-writers, Dean Devlin, the U.S. military had actually agreed to support the film and like allowed them to film on the military bases. But once they found out that there were some Area 51 references in the script, they completely withdrew all their support for that, and then they didn't want them. They didn't feel comfortable with them filming there, which I thought is kind of a funny thing to find out. But I also was able to find out that most of the dialogue in the scenes with Jeff Goldblum and Will Smith's characters, when they at least when they were together, um, were all improvised. That was all mostly improvised, which I think you can kind of tell with how they riffed off of each other with the jokes.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And another thing too that I thought was kind of fun to find out was that the White House interiors for the set for the movie were actually used for the Mars Attacks movie, which came out the same exact year, and two other presidential movies with the American president and Nixon coming out the previous year.
Oh, that's interesting. I haven't seen any of those movies. I That's pretty interesting though. I wonder if there's just like a lot in some studio where there's just like
Probably.
a
It's
White
probably a
House.
backlot thing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, it makes sense though. Like if
Yeah.
you figure how many movies need a White House interior, that does make sense. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Hmm.
Did you have
But
anything
yeah,
else for us, or was that about it?
that's all I got for today.
Okay. So then we'll just get into if this is your first time with us, we usually give our own personal verdict and then we give like our average review. So like we meet in the middle for what we call our screening room podcast review. So with that all said, not I don't really have a whole lot to say that I didn't already say. I did enjoy it despite how much like I may have appeared to be like or came across as negative. I did genuinely enjoy it. And I do think it's one of those movies that could go up on rewatch. But for me I still landed on a 3 out of 5. Um I I don't know. I think it was fun. I think it's definitely like a product of the 90s. For better or
Mm.
worse. I mean, that comes with its advantages and disadvantages. But I still think it's a fun one to throw on and I'll probably go back and revisit it next year. So, yeah, I'm going to stick with the 3 out of 5 for now, but I'll hand the baton over to you.
Okay. And again, like I said, when I watched this, it was on July 4th. So maybe my review at the time was a little biased. I gave it a 4.5, but I'm probably gonna bump it down to a 4 any other time. Like I said, it's probably just because of when I watched it. I gave it a much higher review. So I'll give it a 4 for argument's sake, just on an average day. But for an overall review, I'm definitely comfortable giving it like a 3.5.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds fair. Um, so yeah, with that all said, our Independence Day review is going to be a 3.5 out of 5 overall. Um, I mean, cut me off if I'm wrong, but I would say, our kind of consensus is it is a very good one to watch, especially, you're celebrating the holiday. It's a great one to throw on. Probably more fun with friends or family, I would think. I know at least I did not watch it in the most like ideal circumstance, but I do think it is a fun one to throw on. I think a lot of different people could get something out of it. I feel like that almost that's the advantage of that tonal whiplash we were talking about. Like, there's stuff for like the more like, I mean, to put it bluntly, like pretentious people out there. And then there's stuff for the more, like casual, that looking for a laugh kind of thing. I think there's something that like everyone can find. I don't think anyone is gonna come out of this thinking it's like a 10 out of 10 best picture deserving movie, but I think that everyone can at least get like some mild enjoyment out of it. I don't know, would you say that's accurate?
Yeah, it's pretty accurate.
Yeah. So yeah, again, we're gonna go with a 3.5 out of 5. And I am gonna leave a little teaser here for next week's episode.
What are you doing?
Docking.
Endurance rotation is 67, 68 RPM.
Okay, get ready to match our spin with the retro thrusters.
It's not possible.
No, it's necessary.
And that about does it. Thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for next week for that episode we just teased. We also have a bunch of other videos here on the channel, trailer breakdowns, smaller, shorter movie reactions, all sorts of other stuff. So definitely go check that out if you're interested. But with that all said, thank you all for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.